The air crackled with tension, thick with the scent of blood and sweat. The year was 312 AD, a time of great turmoil and shifting power. The battlefield, a chaotic mess of clashing steel, screams of dying men, and the thunder of hooves, was a scene of utter devastation. The forces of Constantine and Maxentius, locked in a brutal struggle for control of the Roman Empire, surged back and forth, neither side willing to yield. This was no mere border skirmish. This was a fight for the soul of an empire, a battle that would determine the future of Rome. Above the carnage, a young general, his face streaked with sweat and grime, looked to the heavens, seeking guidance in the chaos. Constantine, the ambitious Caesar of the West, was losing ground rapidly, his gaze, desperate for a sign, for anything that could turn the tide of this bloody conflict, fell upon the setting sun, its rays casting an eerie glow over the battlefield. And then, he saw it. A cross, not of wood or stone but of pure, radiant light. Not a physical one, but a cross of light burning bright against the crimson sky, a beacon of hope in the midst of despair. Beneath it, an inscription, "In hoc signo vinces." In this sign you will conquer, words that seemed to echo through the heavens. The vision, as sudden as it was unexpected, sent a jolt through Constantine, filling him with a newfound resolve. Was this a message from the Christian God, a deity he knew little about, but had heard whispers of among his soldiers? The thought lingered in his mind. Could this be the answer to his prayers, the key to victory in this desperate struggle? With renewed hope, Constantine prepared to lead his men to triumph. To understand the significance of this battle, of this vision, we need to rewind the clock. Rome, once the undisputed master of the Mediterranean, was crumbling from within. Decades of civil war, economic turmoil, and barbarian invasions had left the empire teetering on the brink of collapse. In a desperate attempt to salvage the decaying behemoth, Emperor Diocletian had implemented a radical new system of government, the Tetrarchy. The empire was divided into 4 parts, ruled by 2 senior emperors, the Augusti, and 2 junior emperors, the Caesars. This system, designed to bring stability, instead sowed the seeds of further conflict. The empire was a tangled web of ambition and rivalry, with each ruler eyeing the other with suspicion and distrust. When Diocletian and his co-Augustus Maximian abdicated in 305 AD, the fragile peace they had forged shattered. The Tetrarchy, meant to save Rome, instead became a catalyst for its descent into chaos. Enter Constantine. The son of Constantius, one of the Tetrarchy's original Augusti, Constantine was no stranger to power. Raised in the imperial court, he had witnessed firsthand the machinations and betrayals that fueled the empire's decline. When his father died in 306 AD, Constantine's troops proclaimed him Augustus of the West. This bold move ignited a firestorm, plunging the empire into yet another civil war. Constantine, however, was not just another power-hungry general. He was a shrewd strategist, a charismatic leader, and a man of unwavering ambition. He knew that to secure his claim to the throne, he had to unify the empire under his rule. His biggest obstacle? Maxentius, who had seized control of Rome and Italy, a rival claimant to the throne and a formidable opponent in his own right. The clash between these 2 titans was inevitable, a battle that would decide the fate of Rome itself. The 2 armies met at the Milvian Bridge, a vital crossing point over the Tiber River just north of Rome. Maxentius, confident in his superior numbers and strategic position, chose the battlefield. He would crush Constantine, drown his rebellion in the muddy waters of the Tiber, and secure his grip on power. But Constantine was not one to back down from a challenge. He had crossed the Alps with his army, a daring gamble that had paid off with a string of victories. He had momentum on his side, but he was also outnumbered. The odds were stacked against him. As the sun began its final descent, casting long shadows across the battlefield, the 2 armies clashed. The fighting was brutal, a maelstrom of steel, screams, and the sickening thud of flesh against flesh. Roman fought Roman, friend against friend, brother against brother, each driven by loyalty, ambition, or sheer desperation. The outcome, however, remained uncertain. Section 5. The Vision of the Chai Ro, a Turning Point in History. It was amidst this chaos, with the fate of his army and his future hanging in the balance, that Constantine received his now famous vision. The battlefield was a scene of utter turmoil, with soldiers clashing and the air thick with the cries of the wounded. The Chi Rho, the first two letters of Christ's name in Greek, blazed in the sky, a beacon of hope amidst the carnage. This symbol, shining brightly, seemed to pierce through the darkness and despair that enveloped the battlefield. Was it divine intervention, a hallucination born of stress and exhaustion, or simply a shrewd interpretation of a natural phenomenon? The soldiers, weary and battle-worn, looked to the sky, searching for meaning in the midst of chaos. Whatever its nature, the vision had a profound effect on Constantine. It was a moment of clarity in the fog of war, a sign that seemed to promise victory and divine favor. He ordered his soldiers to paint the Chi Rho on their shields, a symbol of the Christian God, a bold declaration of faith in the midst of uncertainty. A God who, according to legend, offered victory to those who fought under his banner. The soldiers, now bearing the sacred symbol, felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination. Inspired by this newfound faith, or perhaps simply emboldened by a sense of destiny, Constantine's forces fought with renewed vigor. They moved with a unity and strength that seemed almost supernatural. They charged into the heart of Maxentius's army, their cries of "In hoc signo vinces" echoing across the blood-soaked battlefield. The sound of their battle cry reverberated, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. The tide of the battle turned. The momentum shifted as Constantine's forces pressed forward with relentless determination. Maxentius's forces, initially confident of victory, found themselves on the defensive. Their initial bravado crumbled in the face of Constantine's inspired troops. Panic spread through their ranks like wildfire. Their lines crumbled. The once formidable army of Maxentius was now a disorganized and fleeing mass, unable to withstand the onslaught. Section 6. In the wake of battle, Constantine's ascendancy. Maxentius, desperate to escape the slaughter, made a run for it, only to meet an ignominious end, drowning in the Tiber as he tried to cross the very bridge that bore his name. His body, fished out of the muddy water, became a symbol of his defeat, paraded through the streets of Rome as a grim reminder of Constantine's triumph. The Battle of the Milvian Bridge was over. Constantine had won. His victory sent shockwaves throughout the empire. He entered Rome, not as a conqueror but as a liberator. The Senate, eager to appease the victor, showered him with honors, bestowing upon him the title of Pontifex Maximus, the high priest of the Roman religion. This victory, however, was more than just a military triumph. It marked a turning point in Roman history, ushering in a new era that would redefine the empire and its relationship with Christianity. Section 7. The Edict of Milan, a new dawn for Christianity. Constantine, though not yet a baptized Christian, recognized the growing influence of the faith, particularly among the lower classes and the army. He saw the potential for Christianity to serve as a unifying force in a fragmented empire. He saw in Christianity a unifying force, a source of stability in an empire riven by division. The faith's emphasis on community and moral values resonated with many, offering hope and cohesion. In 313 AD, he issued the Edict of Milan, a groundbreaking decree that granted religious freedom to all citizens of the Roman Empire. This was a monumental shift in policy, reflecting a new era of tolerance. This edict, issued jointly with Licinius, the Augustus of the East, effectively legalized Christianity, ending centuries of persecution and paving the way for its eventual rise to become the dominant religion of the Roman world. It marked the beginning of a new chapter in religious history. The Edict of Milan was a watershed moment in the history of Christianity. It not only provided legal protection, but also encouraged the growth and spread of the faith. No longer a persecuted sect, Christianity could now flourish openly. Believers were free to worship without fear, and the faith began to attract converts from all walks of life. Churches were built, scriptures were translated, and the faith spread rapidly throughout the empire. The infrastructure of the Roman Empire itself facilitated this rapid expansion. Constantine's support, while initially pragmatic, eventually evolved into genuine belief. His conversion to Christianity was a significant turning point. He became a patron of the church, funding the construction of grand basilicas and playing an active role in shaping Christian doctrine. His influence helped to solidify the church's position within the empire, ensuring its lasting legacy. Section 8. The enduring legacy of Constantine's victory. The Battle of the Milvian Bridge was more than just a clash of armies. It was a clash of ideologies, a battle for the soul of an empire in decline. Constantine's victory, spurred by a vision and solidified by shrewd political maneuvering, had far-reaching consequences that continue to shape the world today. It marked the beginning of the end for the pagan Roman world, and the dawn of a new era dominated by Christianity. Constantine's reign transformed the Roman Empire, laying the groundwork for the Christianization of Europe and the eventual rise of the Catholic Church as a major power in the West. His legacy is a complex one, a mix of military brilliance, political cunning, and religious zeal, a legacy that continues to be debated and dissected by historians to this day. Section 9. What if Constantine had lost? But what if things had gone differently? What if Maxentius had triumphed at the Milvian Bridge? Would Christianity have remained a persecuted sect, destined to languish in the shadows? Or would it have found another champion, another emperor willing to embrace its message and unleash its transformative power upon the world? These are questions that historians continue to ponder, questions that highlight the pivotal nature of this battle. A battle that shaped the course of history and left an indelible mark on the tapestry of human civilization.